Hello everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Jayne. I'm part of the membership team here at Social Enterprise Scotland with my colleague Amy, who's on the call today. And if anyone isn't aware, Social Enterprise Scotland is the national intermediary and membership body for social enterprises across Scotland, and our role is to bang the drum for the wonderful world of social enterprise. I'm really excited for today's session because if anyone who knows me knows that I love talking about employability and employment. So this is, from heaven for me today. So today's session is all about shining a light on the work that social enterprises are doing in the employability space. And I guess to look at what's working, particularly for people who are too often excluded from the labour market. We're focusing on social enterprises that are supporting people facing multiple and significant barriers to work often, and doing that in ways that are flexible, person-centred and rooted in their communities. And the even better news is that today's speakers are all 2025 Social Enterprise Award winners. Yes, exactly. I will have a wee celebration for that. So I guess, the work that you're going to hear about today is proven, recognised, and makes a real difference right now. We're going to start with short presentations from each of the organisations to give you a sense of their work and their impact. We'll then move on to a panel discussion where we will, I guess, talk a little bit more about employability in general, and what's working, what's challenging, what people might like to change. And then we'll have time at the end for questions and also for your own sort of input into this, because I'm guessing you will all have your own thoughts on employability in terms of either the work that you do or the work that you'd like to do. And hello, Chuks, it's lovely to see you. I'm going to start with our first speaker. I'm going in alphabetical order. So first up, it's Brian from Bragg. Brian, over to you.
Okay, hi folks. Let me just share this with you. Now, I will give you a promise to start that this isn't death by PowerPoint. I'm going to share this PowerPoint with you, or I'll make it available through Jayne. But I'm just going to whistle through it. Just to give you a wee bit of background about Bragg and who we are as an organisation. So yeah, my name is Brian Robertson-Fern, Managing Director here at Bragg. I've been here just over 10 years now, and we're one of Scotland's oldest social enterprises, having been set up in I think it was 88, 89-ish. So we've been around for a while. So there's just a wee bit of background. Highlight our turnover, 1.98 million last year. Work over 3 sites, which I'll kind of show you. Our bread and butter is employability, and we specifically cover Fife, with particular focus on impoverished areas within central Fife, i.e. ex kind of heavy industry, coal fields areas, etc. We see ourselves as an anchor organisation and a community wealth building type organisation. Work from 3 sites. Our main site, which is where I am today, on the left there is the old Crosshill Primary School. This has been our home since 1988. We added Thompson House and Methil to that, I think about 2019. And then our most recent, on the right-hand side there, is our Together Leavenmouth Hub, which is a high street project that we acquired and opened in 2021, and I'm pleased to say phase 2 of that opens tomorrow. Let's say the hub was something different for us. We tie our employability into the activities in the hub. Our employability team are led from there as well. But we started off with escape rooms, crazy golf, but it's evolved into more a community type space now. We put on a lot of activities, and the space that we're opening downstairs tomorrow is much more community type space. That's what it's really turned into. But it's pivotal because it's in the high street. It's 2 minutes walk from the bus station, train station. So it's become really, really popular. and it's evolved over the last sort of 4 or 5 years. Our employability, as I said, is our main bread and butter. We are the lead partner in the Fife Employment and Training Consortium, and we have or we were commissioned to deliver to various groups. We have a Spring Forward service, which is adults 25 plus. We have Bright Futures, which is 1924s. We also had Square Start Families, which was a family support employability service. And we work with our partners. I'll touch on who the partners are later. We also deliver a pantry service here at Cross Hill. We have a community growing space here at Cross Hill. And we also have Food for Thought, which Scottish Government funded, which is about social isolation. And they all overlap with each other. So some of our employability people get involved in the gardening, they get involved they come into the pantry. So we get a real mix of people coming through the door and engaging with different services that we offer as an organisation. From an employability perspective, we are probably as part of the consortium, we're not the only provider, third sector provider, but we are probably, or we're one of the largest in Fife. There's some numbers there that I can leave you with. Our community work, obviously, there's some picture there of our Food for Thought programme, which is happening here at Cross Hill. The focus for employability, as you can see there, has always been no one left behind. We're a great supporter of no one left behind because we know that many of the people that are unemployed now are not just unemployed. They have a host of barriers that has stopped them getting and keeping a job. And we try and overcome all of those barriers between ourselves and our partners. That's our structure and our team at the moment. We have lost staff. I'll touch on it in a minute, but we've just made six staff redundant due to cuts in funding. And we've just had a restructure and we've split our community work from our employability just to make it a bit clearer in relation to management. We had an evaluation carried out with Social Value Lab 2023 and it looked at all of our services, including our business space that we rent out, which is another income stream for us. And we were really delighted with the response that we got from that and the impact that we were having and some of the great work that we were doing that was being acknowledged by stakeholders and the people that walk through the door every day. It was nice to have, and it's been good evidence for us in relation to bids. Employability partners, there's ourselves and Kingdom. We both do what we would call end-to-end provision, and then we have our specialist provision, CARFA, Citizen Advice, Fife. We have Clued Up, we have Fife Voluntary Action, we have Frontline Fife, and we also use a bit of Youth First in relation to our youth programmes. 24-25, the total bids that we secured was just over 1.8 million to cover the three groups. 25-26, there was a new tender exercise. We weren't clear about what was going to be asked of us, so we submitted £7.7 million worth of bids across the consortium and ourselves, but we've only been offered 1.25 million this year, which is a substantial reduction on what we've had before. And it's affected us all. It's really put the consortium in a difficult situation and created some conflict between us and one of the other partners in relation to how the money is going to be divvied up. We still, even though we're in April, we still haven't been told formally what our provision is, how much money we're getting. Even though we've gone through a redundancy process, I may have to reopen that redundancy process if I don't get that 1.25 million, and we can't agree as a consortium how it's going to be spent. I think the thing that has worried me more is this is the first year that the council have ring-fenced their own money before they went out to market to the rest of the provision. Normally they would have to bid the same as us, but this year what they did before the tenders even started was they ring-fenced their own funding and said, that's what we're taking for the council's employability provision. You can bid for what's left. So it's a backward step as far as I'm concerned. So it's been a worrying development, I would suggest. And that's me.
Okay, thanks very much, Brian. Warts and all, I think there. We're going to do questions and well, discussion questions at the end. So I'm going to just shift us on quickly to Chuks. Chuks, I don't know if you've got a presentation you want to share, if you're just speaking, but over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. I was just speaking. Yeah, so welcome, everyone. And my name is Chuks Ododo. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
We can. You're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, my name is Chuks Ododo. I'm from an organization called DataCorp, and I'm the Community Engagement Partnership for DataCorp. DataCorp is an organization it's a research charity that's been operational for over 6 years now. Started in 2019, April. Yeah, and focus is on closing attainment gap and also empowering the future of young skill in terms of digital skills, and also ensure that we close the digital divide. And why did we set up this charity? We discovered that oftentimes we see ethnic minority being left behind with so many policies and strategies, and the way the demographic of Scotland is shifting, and we see the number of ethnic minority increasing. And we discovered that if we don't do anything, then there will be a recycle or the cycle of poverty within the ethnic minority. So we set up this organization to be able to empower, nurture, and support people from ethnic minority to be able to have the skills, invariably using the power of skill to actually break the cycle of poverty, moving people from point A to point B. So we've been successful over the years, and from 2020, we won an award as a data first competition with private schools in Edinburgh, and moving to getting our SQA qualification as a SQA accredited center for MPA, PDA, and diploma in data science. And we move forward to also being a training provider to Edinburgh City Council, CCP, under employability program. And also started an event being Scottish Ethnic Minority Talent Summit in 2022. So that's just a brief summary of DataCorp as an organization. So as part of what we do, we have so many streams of activities. First of all, we have a data literacy club for young people between the age of 8 years and 13. And we have a Future of Work Skill program we call DAI, DataCorp Youth Internship Initiative, between the 14 years and to 18. And they will have a employability, skill, reskill, and upskill program for ethnic minority people as well. And we have a robotics club for young people as well. And we'll have Genetic AI club for young people as well. And also we have what we call Talent on Board, where we support people to become board of trustee of organization, because we discover that in that sector, many ethnic minority are not well represented in the boardroom. So we create opportunity to empower people with transferable skill from our community to become board member, and that has been successful. The last one cohort was in conjunction with West Lothian College. So going forward, in terms of our employability program is tied to our training on data literacy, on data. Currently, we have a integrated AI to the program we offer. So we train people and support them to be able to get a job. And a part of what we do, we have other support mechanism in place in terms of CV writing and talent, like CV MOT, prepping people for job, and also provide opportunity for people to build that kind of sort of confidence in terms of digital skills. And we've been able to not just empower people into job, we're able to create that kind of visibility and exposing young people, adult and teenager from our community to know that data or digital skill is the next oil that our people need to tap into. So there, in terms of employability partner, we started a partnership with CCP in 2022, and we got a funding for 3 years with about 25,000 per or thereabout for 3 years to provide employability program. We also have funding from BBC for 50,000, no, around 65,000, also for 2 years to provide employability program for young people, building confidence and preparing the future leader through STEM. And I also have funding through Cora Foundation for 3 years as well to also support what we do as an organization, and also get recently from Robotic Trust as well to be able to support data digital literacy and employability program to make sure that ethnic minority are not left behind in terms of digital space. Yeah, so funding partners, we have Robotic Trust, we have BBC, we have CCP. That funding programs have ended, and also we have some with what do you call this? People's Lottery. Thank you. So these are ranges of organizations that we been working with, and we're able to generate over £275,000 through different pot we got through the employability program. Some of them are drying up, and I was still pushing to be able to get more. So what is significant about DataCog is that we've been able to, in 2022, we're able to support young people, about 10 of them into NatWest through our employability program. Then in Saturday 22, we're able to support 7 people from our community who are actually at work but want to move into digital space. We're able to help them, and also have 17 of them who also got a job in NHS, Public Health Scotland, Sports Scotland, and EY, and also Bank of Scotland. So we've been able to create more visibility for our people through those training programs, and we're able to give them job. And also we've been able to prepare young people, we're able to expose them to digital space, we're able to build confidence, we're able to also create a pathway for our community through our DAI. We have also in 2022, we have 15 young people who got a job and got admission. In 2023, we have 17 young people who have through different pathways into job and employment, into college, universities, and employment as well. Then in 2024, we have 25 of young people that got moved to different positive destination, college, universities, and employment. In 2025, we have 15 of these young people through that different pathways. Then we've been able to also create visibility for our community in terms of what we do at Scottish Ethnic Minority Talent Summit, which we launched in 2022. And what do we do that? We discover that our community is not just enough to train them, but we also make sure that they have access to opportunity. So through that summit, we're able to bring business leaders and key stakeholders, employers into the room, and we're able to provide opportunity for our people to network with these businesses. So in 2022, we have 173 people in attendance. And in 2023, we have 263 in attendance. And 2024, we have 502. And in 2025, we'll have 568 in attendance for Scottish Ethnic Minority Talent Summit. And 2025, we also introduced award night to it, which was successful. And this year, we are also ready to have the Scottish Ethnic Minority Talent Summit as part of the vehicle for DataCog to be able to engage with employers. And this year, we're going to do it in multiple cities. We'll have Ethnic Minority Talent Summit in 5, focusing on the digital health and care sector and housing. We also have Aberdeen on the 5th of October, focusing on ESG, energy sector, and the rest. And we also have Glasgow Caledonian University in partnership with Also, Glasgow University will be taking place on 26th of October as well. Then we'll return back to Edinburgh on 29th for the summit to talk about disrupting the digital space in terms of AI and the rest of them. How do we navigate them? How do we support the next talent that we're able to feed into that space and make sure that Scotland are not being left behind in terms of the benefit from the AI and the revolutions that we find ourselves. So I still have more time. How many minutes left?
I think I'll have to jump in, Chuks, because
Okay.
we want to get a bit of chat around. Will's got to present, and we've got to have a bit of chat around sort of employability with our audience here. But honestly, there's
thank you.
So much happening with you guys. Really impressive. Thank you for sharing. Will, I'm going to come over to you, and I believe I'm sharing your presentation.
Yes, if possible. Thanks, Jayne. Yeah, I've got my notes on my computer and I don't want to keep flipping apart. Thanks very much to Brian and Chuks. They're both seriously impressive. So I hope we sound like we've got some good chops as well. We are award winners at least, so I can talk to that. So hi, I am Will Bain. I'm the CEO of Scran Academy. We're a youth-led catering social enterprise, as it says here on this slide. That means that we work with young people to run a business, run 2 cafes and a catering business. So we have a food truck. I've got 12 young people on my books, and they are supported by a team of 10 adults. Most of them are reasonably adult. So we sort of live and breathe the both supporting into employment and employability space. So here we have our mission, and this sort of underpins us. So we're on a mission to see every young person, regardless of background or barrier, realize their full potential in learning, work, and life. Too many young people in our most challenged communities never realize their aspirations due to the effects of social inequality and poverty. Another way to say this is that there's the systems to support in getting young people ready for the workforce are currently broken, and they let down too many young people in various different ways. I see us as I see the sector in terms of employability as a crisis response to some wider societal issues that we kind of don't know. We're still sort of scratching our heads around them collectively. So organizations like Bragg, like DataKirk, like Scran, I think are really critical right now in supporting wider communities into employment. You'll also see there learning, work and life. We're not just employability. We run lots of education programs as well. I'll come to those in a minute, but Jayne, if you wouldn't mind, next slide. I'll put this in to give a sort of context of the situation that young people face in Scotland. We have 15,000 young people facing poverty in Edinburgh right now, most affluent yet least affordable city in the UK, and a lot of it gets hidden in on the face of the Edinburgh Fringe and the finance sector and Holyrood. A lot of the poverty is pushed around the edges, but it's really chronic in many places. Nationwide, we know that mental health issues are rising for young people. We know that happiness is decreasing for teens in Scotland. Again, we're struggling with it as a society, but ultimately, from our position, what we hear from young people as well, being youth-led means that we listen to them as part of our process, and they tell us that there's less meaning and positivity in engaging with learning and work. So it's up to schools and employers to make it more meaningful, make it more positive, and that kind of feeds into our strategy and approach. And I've put the last bit in, the schools and social care can't meet demand, leaving pupils as young as 11 on excluded or part-time timetables. This is really critical to employability and to what we do as a sector, because part-time timetables mean that young people, they'll go into school for 2 to 6 sessions a week, and that will equate to 100% attendance. So the schools are like, fine, we don't need to worry about it. But those young people aren't getting set up. They're not getting the socialization. They're not getting the soft skills. They're not getting the basic bits of communication. Never mind the gap in attainment. Never mind the gap in skills building. That's secondary. They're not even kind of ready to work as a team, to listen to people, to feel like they're ready to do stuff. If they're only going to school for 1 day a week or 1 session a week. So it's a really, really challenging situation. The young people who are coming out of that process there's more and more of them as well. So it's a sort of a snowballing situation since COVID. The young people, not shortly after COVID, the young people put on part-time timetables, started just literally walking into classrooms and walking out again. And year on year, anecdotally, that is getting worse and worse. So more and more young people are sort of voting with their feet. We see it as a society. It's a hugely impactful issue, and you see it in rates of not in education, employment, or training. Next slide, please, Jayne. So we tackle this using an innovative model. We use youth work. That's really, really important. Youth work means that we support young people, see them as equals. We meet them where they're at. They help us design our services. I'm trying to avoid the word co-design because I don't like it, but they help us design our services. And they are a critical part of our infrastructure. It's based on respect. We also use enterprise. So we have 2 cafes, as I mentioned, and a brilliant food truck. So we surround them with opportunity. We give them loads of skills building opportunities, real life responsibilities. And that real life thing means that they test and flourish themselves in a kind of, they come into their own. They have opportunities to come into their own. Community there means we create meaningful relationships. And that's like, I call that the engine room. We don't do anything without building a relationship with a young person, because that's when you get there. You get beyond the sort of tick box. You got to get your CV, you got to get your interview experience. And that's all to do with building belonging. And belonging is the important, that's the missing ingredient for young people who are voting with their feet. They walk into a classroom, they don't feel like they belong. They don't have that trust. They don't have that feeling of community. They don't feel like they're doing it for any purpose other than they have to. So we really, really work on building that belonging, getting their engagement. Next slide, please, Jayne. We've got several programs. I won't go into all of them because it'll take too long. We work with 11 to 16-year-olds to deliver education. We're an SQA approved centre as well. We'll do little light touch bits of education. We won't engage them for bloody ages and get them to work through slogs of stuff and do loads of exams. We'll just give them some awards for doing some work. We'll give them like a dynamic youth award or a well-being award because they've delivered something and done it well. One of our key awards is an enterprise award. So we'll ask them to come up with a product, make it, test it, sell it, and then they get a qualification from that. They love it, and it gets them. There's so much creativity involved, and they just see the direct positive response. Then we've got our employability. I don't love the word employability. We don't say educatability. So why do we say employability? It sort of brings up lots of things around pipelines and one size. It's a bit of a one size fits all phrase. Thank you. We get them involved in our social enterprise at every stage. So from 11 to 16, from 11 to 25, young people get involved in some way. And that real life responsibility, like I said, kind of puts them in front of, lets them test themselves and see what they can do and where they sit. And then we work with loads of different employers, loads of different sectors, to give them as much opportunity as possible, from other hospitality organizations to the NHS to builders to hairdressers. Next slide, please. Give you a sense of our size. I think we're probably, we're not huge. We worked with 106 young people last year. It's a bit more than that this year. It's about 120 so far. Volunteer hours down the bottom. We do loads of make sure that young people get involved in volunteering, because they see like real life experience. 1,756 hours from 42 young people last year. That I like pointing at that and saying it's like a year of full-time work. They're not lazy. Young people are not lazy. They'll do that for no money at all. Next slide, please, Ray. I'm just conscious of time. And here is some of our impact. We've got young people either become or becoming nurses, construction workers, care workers. We've got one social worker, which is amazing, lived experience right into social worker. Trades, bus drivers. The reason I put this list in is we're not a machine to make chefs or hospitality professionals. That's not our aim. We try and awaken their aspirations. And last year we won, Erin here won Social Enterprise Scotland's Employee Champion of the Year. She is one of our, she's one of our best employees. She's the bravest and she has tackled so much stuff and she is smashing it. She's our cafe manager for one of our cafes and she's 19. So very proud of her. And final slide, please, Jayne. We went to visit Downing Street off the back of that. So the sort of wider experiences that we can give young people that are going to, last them a lifetime is a really critical thing for us as well. Thanks very much. That is me. I've tried to be quick. I've realised I haven't been.
Ooh. I think what happens when people who work in social enterprises talk about their social enterprises, they care and they're passionate and, and rightly so. So thank you all three speakers. Yeah, I think what's striking is that no matter your origins, your story, your approach is that social enterprises don't just stop at employability. It's not just about employability. It's everything that wraps around that as well for people as well. So thanks very much. And nothing highlighted more than that last slide, Will, with Erin at number 10. So I had planned to ask a few questions myself, but actually I think I'm going to flip it because I think what is more important is to hear from our audience around if you've got any questions to ask Will, Chuks or Brian, or if you've got any of your own kind of experiences to share first of all, and then I can chip in with some of my questions if not. But I can't believe we've got folk here from social enterprise sector and beyond who do not have questions or comments to make. So I'll open the floor. Over to you. Pegs, come on then, and you come.
I can't.
I was going to say, if I had to put money on it, it would have been you.
I've tried counting to 5 now, but I count to 5 really quickly. Hello, everybody. I know some of you very well. Brian, lovely to see you. I don't know who you are, but yes, maybe I'll try and count a bit more slowly. But yeah, thanks. I think so it's really amazing to hear about the 3 different programs. And so for those that don't know me, I work in third sector and employability nationally and sit on the National Third Sector Employability Forum or support the National Third Sector Employability Forum Executive alongside Jayne. And funnily enough, one of the things we were talking about just the other day was the importance of having a portfolio of case studies of stories of impact of the sector. And I just feel like I've just had a masterclass in 3 of those. And that's, helped me start thinking about what to populate in terms of templates and who to approach. So if you don't mind, I'll be in touch via Jayne probably to see if we can get your support for that. In terms of questions and reflections, I was really interested by that point about educatability, that doesn't exist as a world. Like I've been battling for, well, 4 years longer. When we were in Fife, we talked about pathway, not a pipeline. Been battling since I've been in the National Post to try and get the language away from pipeline. It's a real struggle in some areas, but getting people to think more about an ecosystem of support, which in itself is a bit of a, you know, not quite wanky, but let's call it that word. But just trying to get kind of have a different way of thinking about things. But I just love that point, like employability sort of implies that the problem's in the person, doesn't it, rather than actually the system that surrounds them and in which they're trying to find work or thinking about it. So yeah, thanks for that share. That might be the next mission, language mission. And then the questions, I suppose, are I've been engaging a bit with the apprenticeships landscape, especially foundation and modern, and the role of the third sector in that space. I'd be interested to know if any of you have connected with that, got involved in that, decided to walk away from that, because I think that's interesting. And also, from a social enterprise perspective, use of things like whether you use anything like intermediate labour market funding in terms of kind of balancing the books when you're providing those sort of developmental paid employment opportunities that are part of people's pathways on. So I think those are my two specific questions.
Great. Okay, thanks, Pegs. Who wants to take that first? Chuks, Chuck, let me try that again. Chuks, you are unmuted. Do you want to come in first?
Yeah, thank you very much. In terms of you mentioned about, we're going to look at this issue of foundation apprenticeship. So we actually not engage directly on a foundation apprenticeship because of what we do is unique in terms of we focus on digital skills, which is area of data, like software development and the rest, and AI. So, but we was able to do a little bit of program with Skill Development Scotland around that kind of employability program. But the outcome wasn't up to what they were expecting because they did not understand where we're coming from in terms of the progression, how the digital skills work. Digital skill is not like employability program focusing on customer service or cleaning. You can train somebody on customer service or cleaning with a milestone of 3 months and get the person into a job. But when you talk about digital skills, it's 6 months, 1 year is just too short. Person have to develop the skill, have the confidence. Then you have to also prep the person to be able to get a job. So that's why we couldn't progress for after 1 year with Skill Development Scotland. I hope that helps a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Chuks. I guess that's the reality of some of these programs, isn't it? Brian, Will, do you want to come in on apprenticeships or intermediary labour market funding? I'm really struggling with my words today.
I think the only thing I would say is, to a certain extent, we've kind of had, and I don't want to be critical in any way, but we've had kind of one hand tied behind our back because we tended to be directed to adults and kind of 19 plus of late. And the local authority have kind of ring-fenced younger people more so. So we've only really had the option, maybe adult apprenticeships. And what you find with adults is it's something that they are usually keen to do once they're in a job. So our aim is to get them into a job first and then encourage the employer to potentially look at an adult apprenticeship with them. But employers were more likely to sign up to that if there's a package of support behind them. And I think that's sometimes not always available to us because we're working, I won't use the term pipeline, Pegs, but I'll use the term pathway. But it is a situation now we're being asked to do more and more, engage earlier and earlier as part of No One Left Behind, but also support further and further into once they're in work. And we can only stretch that elastic band so far without there being additional. And at the same time, our funding, certainly the last 4 years, I mentioned a big cut in funding this year, but we've had kind of frozen money for the last 4 years. At a time when every business is struggling because of increased costs. And I think that's, let's say the elastic band has been stretched as far as it can be stretched. And I appreciate, we're all in a difficult economic climate at the moment, and that includes local government and national government. But there's a big ask of us at the moment, and then we can only stretch it so far.
Yeah, another good point. Thanks, Brian. Will, anything you want to add on that?
No, we don't engage currently with apprenticeships or intermediary labour funding. So your email address in the chat there, Pegs, is very helpful. Thank you.
Yes, for anyone that's interested, who's a third sector provider working in employability, Pegs is one of your key contacts, I think. And if you're not already, you should join TSEF, and I will send, when I do the follow-up email, I'll include information about TSEF in that. Okay, we've got a question in the chat, and I think maybe Yvonne was wanting to come in, but I'll do the chat first if that's okay. So Laura was saying that they're looking to go into this area, or they've gone into this area almost by accident, and like some advice on how to do it more formally and how to better support people they're working with. So any tips and advice, I guess. Who wants to start us off? Will I come back to you on this?
Sure. I'll preface it by saying that our approach and strategy around our employment program, which is called Scran, is a lot of it is directed by young people. So it's working directly with the needs of that young person. Our theory of change sort of dictates the way we do it, and it's all about building the relationship first. So I'd say put process into that. Have a clear definitions around the staff that you want to deliver it, or yourself. What is it you're doing in terms of building that relationship? How are you building that relationship safely? What are you developing in terms of goals for the young person? Making everything super clear and the expectations of the young person on the program, making that really well defined, mapping out what the possibilities are. Don't overpromise, and don't put false challenge in. So also don't say So I think a lot of it is about being really taking a youth work approach really, and being smartly boundaried, getting alongside behind the person. And that's kind of our baseline. That's the first thing that we do, and in doing that, we can then develop aspirations and purpose and goal setting with the young person, and work out what they want to do next. A lot of our work is about helping them navigate barriers as well. So building a really strong set of partners that can help you, because complex barriers require complex solutions. And we work with organizations that support young people in homelessness, or working with substance use, or involved in crime. So all of those are areas that we have a contact for that'll help the young person kind of navigate that. We don't take that in-house. So I guess there's a boundaries thing there as well. But I would also say our process is not formal, and we're kind of proud of that.
And I guess that's where the person-centeredness of it all comes in, is about you kind of well, meeting the person where they're at, but also being realistic, in terms of what you can deliver and achieve together. Chuks, any top tips for Laura?
Yeah, thank you very much. So in addition to what the last speaker said, his contribution, our approach is similar in the sense that we don't just provide training, we just also have a wrap-up support to be able to address the challenges, because we work with ethnic minority community that comes with so many barriers, whether from the background, from the immigration, or from other support they need within the system. So as part of what we do, we run immigration seminar regularly in-house to support people who find themselves in that category, who identify as a barrier for them to move to the next level. Then also it could be housing, if anybody have a housing issue. Those are things with data we capture at the onboarding level. So we'll do all this information, figure what are the barriers that help you to make it difficult for you to progress to the next level. So once we identify or aggregate those barriers, so we'll begin to plug in so many workshops and referrals into addressing those barriers so that the person can move quickly. And we'll have this milestone, like after 8 weeks, we also need to do another assessment to know where the person is. And another 8 weeks as well, we'll do another assessment to be able to know whether the person is progressing or not, and to know whether those barriers have been addressed or not. So we'll look at all those things as we progress. Then for us, we also look at different streams of our implementing program in terms of there are people who focus that these people can give us quick results, and these people also takes a long time because of the barrier that focus on. So we have them in different categories. We don't just mix them up. A typical example, we have a employability program called UK Work Experience, focused on international students who are looking for easy transition from study to work. So the approach for those people is different, because we know that these are highly skilled individuals who have first degree, who have masters. What do they need? Maybe just provide that kind of UK work experience for them, supporting them to employment, which give us a very quick result in different angle. Then also there are people who are coming from different background, maybe no digital skill as well, starting from 0-1. The approach is different based on barrier we have identified. So that's how we segment it when we are running our implementing program. I hope that helped.
Thanks, Chuks. Brian.
I'm going to give Laura a couple of examples. I'm not going to disagree with anything that Chuck or Will said, because they're spot on. We're dealing with people who have probably suffered in relation to their levels of aspiration in life, and require a step change in relation to somebody actually telling them something positive in their life, whether they be young people or adults. They've had times where they've been told they're a failure and they'll never amount to anything. So that lack of aspiration really needs to be built back up again. But also, I would say with young people, a lot of them don't know what they want to do. They don't know what their strengths are, and what Will's doing. As he said, he's not directing people into hospitality. It's just a tool. It's just a mechanism to engage with the young people, work with them, to give them a self of well-being to move them in the right direction. So yeah, I would 100% agree with that. I think we adults, it's slightly different in the fact that adults tend to have a different driver, and the fact that they usually have aspirations in life because they want to feed their children, or they want to, they've got a house to pay for. So their motivation to get a job is different from a young person, because they have commitments and they want to furnish those commitments. So you don't have to spend time trying to decide what it is, or for them to decide what they want to do. They just want a job, even if it's a stepping stone. In relation to an example for Laura, given she's up in Dundee, is we're now in our third year of a programme with Abertay University in Dundee, where we've got young people that we've engaged with through a game design programme. So the young people identify themselves because they've got an interest in gaming, or they're quite creative. These are probably young people that have been through COVID are not getting out of the house, they're sitting in the house, they're not engaging with their peers, they're not engaging with anybody. And they come on a program with us. But what they do is once a week they go up to Aberdeen University and they sit with third year students at the university, and they design and build their own game. And this suits two different groups of people. Those that are into computers and coding, kind of stuff that Chuck's doing, but also those that are creatives, that are artistic, and it's about the character, the storytelling, that element of it. So you tend to get two different groups of people that sign up to this. But critically, it's worked really well for the university, because what they've got is they've now got people coming into the university who are from backgrounds who would not necessarily consider access to university being the right step for them. And they're now going in, they're mixing with third year students, they're in a university campus for probably first time in their life. And they're actually thinking, you know something, I could do this. And at the end of it, they're seeing a finished game that they've been part of. And we have a big celebration at the end of it where their family's invited to come and see the game that they've been involved in the design of. Now, we won an award for this 2 years ago, and we've continued it. But I think, reaching out to other organizations that may have an interest in employability, but at that level, is something that you should consider. Because it's something different, and it raises those aspirations for the young people coming in the door who would never, there was probably never been a conversation in their house about them going to university, never been a conversation about them looking at further study. They're sitting in a house, the parents don't know what to do with them. So, think differently in relation to the kind of provision that you might want to offer.
Wow, thanks, Brian. I mean, yeah, a bit lost for words on that, to be honest. I think that kind of really brings it to life, doesn't it?
Thank you, everyone. That was really, really helpful. We do a really wide range of sort of young people, but we have a lot of people who've just qualified from university or have stepped out of university for whatever reasons, largely neurodivergent, largely queer, and they're just not managing in the workplace for like a variety of reasons. And they're coming to us to kind of just be in a space where they can be supported and try and be human. A lot of them just say this is where they get to try and be human and try and be adult. And so, yeah, we kind of are falling into these employability skills rather accidentally, which we never kind of were planning on going down that route. And I'm like, oh, I need to do something for these people that's more than just like come and volunteer for a few hours and have some fun. I need to do something more with them. And so, yeah, thank you for that's given me some really good direction. All of you have given me something totally different, which was brilliant. So thank you.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear. Thanks, Laura. I guess the other place to go is, your local TS Pegs will know this better than me, but your local TSI will have a third sector representative on the local employability partnership, probably in Dundee, and having a chat with them as to what the LEP's actually looking for, what service provision already exists. I mean, this will help with referral pathways and that sort of thing. But yeah, if you don't know your third sector rep on your LEP, lots of acronyms there, I do apologise. Let us know and Pegs can put you in touch with them. Pegs, are you going to come in and...
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, definitely give me a shout. Dundee is one of the, every area is different. So that's one of the different ones of all the differences. So, but also I think just your point about falling into doing employability, I think so many organizations do find themselves in that space because they start off helping parents and then quite rapidly discover that their way of helping parents is helping people get work, or to help parents they might need to help them on that journey of, or young people or whatever it is. I just think, this is a really common experience, and that's why I think the third sector connection with it is often so wonderful, because it stems from something else. It's about helping, what is it that is needed for these people, not what is needed for the economy. So yeah,
it's about caring, isn't it? I think in a lot of cases, I always think, social enterprises across the board will generally all be doing some form of enhancing people's health and well-being, and they will also be doing some form of employability. They just may not call it that. And I agree with Will that, but I don't like the word either. So I'm very conscious of the time. Does anyone have a burning question that they would like to ask before we stop? And whilst I'll give a couple of seconds to think about that. I'm just going to post the link to the evaluation survey in the chat. If you could take a couple of minutes just to tell us what you thought of the session and help us plan future ones as well. No burning questions?
Yeah, can I say something?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, thank you very much. I just want to add to what Brian said. It was very amazing. Also, the same thing what we do in terms of when you mentioned about sending young people to Abate, that kind of exposure is very critical when you are working with young people. I know 2 years, year before last, we had a program like that, what we call Include Plus, where our young people was going to Abate to be able to design a game, which we are still working on to scale it up. But another thing, very important thing about your working young people is that kind of visibility, giving them that kind of self-confidence to be able to say, yes, Mr. A is doing this, I can do it. We've seen it play out in our program when we send the first youth internship initiative to Investec Bank to do 5 days summer work placement. And that has inspired about 3 young people in that cohort. Today, they are working with NatWest Bank. So these are people from a background that nobody has ever worked in the corporate sector. So, but having that exposure and the visibility for these young people to such kind of posh, highly corporate environment, or university environment will help to inspire them and to motivate or to shape their future. So it's something that I would also encourage anyone who are actually in that priority space with young people to also look at this area of being able to identify. And another aspect again that we as an organization were not doing before, but started doing is about giving these young people opportunity to tell their story. Because when they tell their story, not only creating visibility for what we do as an organization, but it helps them to build that confidence. For example, when we do our diary, we say we bring out young people, like 3 people are going to speak. Tell us about your experience about this program. What have you gained today? What are your aspirations? What do you want to get out in the next section? So that kind of stories, in terms of a short video clip, it helps to boost confidence for them, give them the opportunity to also tell their stories, and they can grow from there. So that also be very helpful for our organization, and something that we are doing, and something also I would like to share with organizations who like to provide the opportunity for young people to always share their stories. Because also, apart from that, if you look at the social enterprise sector, we are doing a lot, but there are no more stories out there. How do we share our stories of what we are doing? Brian's mentioned they are doing an amazing thing. I'm just trying to identify what they are doing, and I went to their website to check. Yeah, these guys are doing amazing, but how many people are hearing their story outside the domain where the area they're operating? Will is here from the academy. They are doing a great, but how many people have access to their story? So how do we create a platform for social enterprises where businesses can be sharing their story? Because only we can tell the story of what we are doing in social enterprise space. And this is a sector that is doing amazing things within the contribute to the economy, but the stories are not much out there. So how do we push these stories so that we're able to know the data? So, okay, this year we're able to support how many organizations, not just not as a data core, but collectively, that as social enterprise, this year we have contributed how much million worth of volunteer hour to the economy. You understand? So these are in data, in real data. Yeah, I think it will help. Let me stop. Let me not talk. Let me stop there.
Thanks, Chuks. I love that you finished on a data point. I think that feels very relevant. And you're right. I mean, there's, the sector does so much amazing work, pre-employability, employability, whatever terms you want to use. And I think part of our role is to help you shine a light on the work that you're doing. And we have some plans for that through the year, but I won't talk about them just now because I'm very conscious of time. Social Enterprise Scotland, the movie. Thanks, Brian. Okay, I think there's a question. Well, it's a question from Michelle in the chat around what happens to the reporting information. I think, Pegs, can you shed some light on this?
So I think it depends on the LEP. So everything gets fed up to Scottish Government, including the case studies. And then they sit in a space. Some of that data comes back out via the e-bulletin from Employability in Scotland, or via the national statistics that get published, you know, that kind of big smoosh of data. But that kind of drill down into particular delivery does not necessarily happen. And Yvonne's nodding. She sits on a couple of LEPs, I think now, or certainly, yeah, has done. And it varies also dramatically. So how much that gets used locally just varies really dramatically from LEP to LEP. So some have quite proactive discussions around oversight and governance, and others maybe just less so. I don't know, Yvonne, do you want to add to that at all?
I know we're short on time, but yeah, no, I completely agree, Pegs, and that was my comment, and was around LEPs really have a role to play to showcase this, but actually at a national level, we've just done this big piece of work around communications, and I'm just thinking, how do we link all that through? So I'm not really here in my official capacity as head of ops for Skills Development Scotland, but like you, Pegs, can never not come in and speak. I think it's a real crucial point for us to take away from this, and how do we link it all together? But yeah.
Maybe that's one for you and myself and Susie. I think it's great that you've been here and that
I know
kind of feed that in.
I've gained so much from this, and I think that I probably only joined because I've just joined as a social enterprise, and that again is learning from me. Actually, how do we link in some of these national organisations? I've got lots from it. Sorry, Jane.
You're all right. I think the more information and intelligence we can share, and the more light we can shine on the work that social enterprise does, we're all for that. So thanks both of you. I am probably going to draw us to a close now because I'm aware that we are over time. So I've not done a very good job on that today. But I think it was all really valuable, and I really honestly appreciate all your contributions. I will say I think what we've heard today, it's not just that this work matters, which it clearly does, and it's heartbreaking, some of the kind of things that have been said today, and we do need to do better. But I think the fact that social enterprises work for people, I think is what I'm taking away from this. I mean, I knew that already, but so I just want to say a big thank you to our three speakers, so to Brian, to Chuks, and to Will, for sharing their time, their expertise, and their experience with us today. Thank you all for coming along. There'll be a follow-up email coming out either today or tomorrow, hopefully, around this. And I guess the only thing left for me to say, and it would be remiss for me to miss this out, is that Bragg, Scran and Datakirk are 2025 Social Enterprise Award winners, and we will be launching the 2026 awards next month in May. So keep an eye out for that. So yeah, that's it from me. Thanks again to our fantastic speakers. Thanks to you for coming along, and hopefully see you again soon. See you later.